All right, little steps on the Lotus. Pulled the starter off and it was all gunked up and nasty and rusty. So cleaned all the Bendix and all that up and got it to where starter spins. It's nasty outside, cold and rainy. So I've locked myself in the garage, and I mean, I could think of a worse place to be locked up, huh? So the battery cut off when I was talking about the starter. I was about to spin it over. Anyway, it was frozen up and kind of gritty and whatnot. So I pulled it apart, lubricated everything, and let me show you. It's back in place, right there, and it does turn over. So the engine is not locked up or anything from moisture. It seems to be okay. I have not checked compression yet, so I don't know if the valves are seating and whatnot. But as soon as I can get some help in here, I'll check compression. But tonight I have another project to work on. I'll show you that in a second. The Lotus Europa is a fiberglass car. The entire car is fiberglass, and it has a steel box chassis that runs down the center of the body and splits on each end to go out to the four wheels. I think I talked about this in another segment, but being that it's all fiberglass, the doors are kind of a weird setup. I don't know if it's genius or if it's just odd. It's like the rest of the car. The rest of the car is kind of genius, but also odd. The door is really loose. I'll show you the function of the door. When you open the door, look at that. Watch this. So up here you can see the top of the door right in here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bushing in there, and then let me light that up. There's a pin, a shaft that goes all the way through the door from top to bottom. Well, up there, the fiberglass of the door is toast. Completely wallowed out. Luckily, I think it'll come apart relatively easy. I say that as in easy for your Lotus. The hinge pin has to come out, and then I'll document the rebuilding of the door fiberglass, reinstallation of the bobbin, which is the hinge pivot, and all that. So I'm gonna have to make some special tools. I'll show you those in a second. There's the victim. I have it chucked up in the drill. I mean, the vise, sorry. And now we're gonna make it into a special tool.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell to let you know when new videos are live.
There you have it, folks. 2 custom door removal wrenches. We're going to see if this works at all. I'm going to give it my best shot out here by myself, so if I pull that pin out, I'm going to need something to support the door. But maybe next time I turn the camera on, I'll be showing you a door on a table. Oh, listen to that. It's a tuning fork. You think they'll let me return these for warranty when I'm done? I could just put the 3 pieces in a box or something. Okay, so after about 3 hours of learning and disassembly and kind of, I messed something up, but I can fix it, in experimenting. There was a way that I could tighten the hinges without actually removing the pin. In other words, it wasn't that the door was wallowed out. It was that the adjustment bolt at the top wasn't adjusted or tightened. And it would not tighten, actually. It was as tight as it would go because it was up against the shoulder of the, it's called a bobbin. which is the piece that actually bolts to the door, and the pin goes through the body, through the bobbins, and the bobbins are your hinges. Well, the top one was absolutely loose, so the door was just flopping, and there's a square hole that allows adjustment in the door. So let's check it out. For the first time since I had the car, look at that. Just the adjustment alone took forever. Once I figured out how to actually tighten the hinge, it took a while to make the final adjustments to get it to close perfectly. And I could not be happier right now, because not only did I not have to buy a hinge kit, because Dave had previously already done that, but I was able to fix it with what I had here and not have to pull it back apart. And also, I was expecting to do a lot of fiberglass repair on the actual pin hole in the door, because I thought that was actually wallowed out, but it wasn't. I am going inside. Hello, everybody. Making a little progress, a lot of progress actually, on the Lotus. You can see that it's quite a bit shinier now than it was in the previous video. Been doing a lot of buffing. You can see some of the paint that's been removed, taking off a layer and getting it to be not perfect, but better. You can still kind of see that it's got some checking in the paint, but looking a lot nicer. I think it will at least be presentable. Got the driver's side door really closing nicely now. Opens well and shuts like the glove, whereas before, I guess you could see in the previous video, it would just basically droop down. The top hinge was completely loose and allowed it to just fall off the car when you would almost when you would open it. So that's fixed. Little things like that are happening. Oh, need to make a correction. In the first video, I called it a type 47. I got a little dyslexic, and it's actually a type 74, which was pointed out to me, which I already knew, but someone pointed it out in the comments of the first video. Switching those two numbers around is a big difference, because the 47 is the race car version of this. This is the 74. So yeah, my mistake. I just got dyslexic on the numbers. I pulled one of the window motors out. There's the regulator. The motor is on the bench. Well, I haven't gotten them to work yet. So they are the same motors as a Chevrolet Corvette 1970 model, so if I do need some, they are available. But I'm still going to give fixing the others one more shot. So tonight, I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment. I have put mystery oil in the cylinders. I checked compression. They're off with each other, but that could have a lot to do with the fact that there was a bunch of mystery oil in them. Like some of them, I literally filled them up. So what I'm going to do tonight is I put the plugs back in, and even though I have no carburetors and no exhaust yet, I would at least like to hear if it fires over. So I'm going to be putting a little bit of fuel, just a squirt into each open intake port, and we're going to turn it over and see it if it fires. At least it's going to be loud and smoky and awesome. Let me locate the fire extinguisher. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Yeah, the fire was coming out of that puppy. Sounded pretty good, actually. We're gonna let everything clear and try it one more time. I love this. I love seeing the smoke in here. That means it works. So we're gonna let the smoke clear a little bit. I'm gonna do it one more time. Hopefully that'll burn out any of the leftover mystery oil in the cylinders, and then we'll do another compression test to make sure that it's okay. But that sounded pretty dang cool. Okay, so we're in position. We have fuel in the cylinders, and we are going to turn it over and see if it will fire. Oh yeah! We got fire. So far, what I could tell, it sounded okay. We'll go from here and do a compression test. Quick video tonight of what we got done. I decided to just go ahead and grease the wheel bearings, put everything back together, leave the old brake lines and stuff like that on it right now, so I can at least, once it's running, maybe take it around the block. I can bleed flush the brakes and everything, and make sure that everything works, and then I'll put it on the lift and replace parts. On the inside, we got a lot done. All the carpet is out, as you can see there. The back panel is out. Up here, I'm ready to pull the headliner down. We have all the sun visors and gaskets and stuff down. So tomorrow, hopefully, I'll pull that headliner down and replace it. I got the wheel off so I could get down in the pedal box. I don't know if you can see much down there. A lot of rust on that pedal box I want to take off clean. I want to pull the pedal box out, paint it. The throttle cable is cut for some reason. The previous owner decided to cut it when they took the carburetors off, but the clutch cable, it is a little rusty on the outside, but I think it's going to be salvageable, and we're going in the right direction. What I'm basically aiming for is to have everything ready to go by the time the carburetor and the header come in, and that way the interior will be finished. We won't have to take that back apart again, because right now we have time. The Beetle engine can't go back in because of a engine bay gasket, and so this weekend, it's going to be cold, but I have the heater. We're going to get this thing basically ready to where when the engine parts come in theory, we should be able to just put those parts on, and if it runs fine, then we can take it around the block. So we're going to work on it some more tomorrow. We'll get some more video. Later.